After 8 years of Justin Trudeau and the NDP, everything costs more. Food prices have risen faster than at any time in 40 years. This is because of a carbon tax that has increased the cost for the farmers who produce the food, the truckers who ship the food, the grocers who sell the food. A carbon tax that is scheduled to quadruple over the next 5.5 years and which will go up on April 1st. Now, the NDP in this province has agreed to implement that tax, where in other provinces the local government has said no, and therefore Trudeau has imposed it from above. Here, the NDP has enthusiastically embraced the goal of raising energy prices on working-class families and has committed to go ahead with the hike this coming April 1st, a 23% carbon tax hike that will make life more expensive for everyday Canadians who are already unable to eat. This is happening in the context of 2 million annual visits, 2 million annual visits to food banks, a massive 32% increase over 8 years ago. And there are now a third of charities in Canada that are actually turning people away from food banks because they do not have enough food for them. Let me give you an example of how we can do that. Natural gas. We have 1,300 trillion cubic feet of natural gas beneath our feet. We have clean hydroelectricity, cold weather, which allows us to liquefy it with 25% less energy than is used in the United States of America, because after all, converting gas into a liquid is a process of cooling it down. And what do we have in Canada? Our most abundant natural resource is cold weather. That you don't know anything about that in British Columbia, so no complaining from any of you. But you have no idea how cold it gets in Ottawa. In fact, last winter it was so cold, Justin Trudeau was seen with his hands in his own pockets. But think about the incredible opportunity we have here. So, we have LNG Canada, approved by the previous Harper Conservative government, with the wise counsel of the great ministers Ed Fast, Carrie Lynn Finlay, and James Moore, who all championed the project for British Columbia. It came as a result of Ellis Ross, who was the chief of the HESLA at the time, and a future Conservative member of Parliament for Northern British Columbia. $40 billion, the biggest project in Canadian history of any kind, public or private. It will reduce millions of tons of greenhouse gases because it will be the lowest emitting facility in the world, and it will displace megawatts generated by coal in Asia. I will also, for future transit projects, I will be putting the money from the federal government in a trust. The city will have to get bridge financing to build the transit station. And the money will only be released to them when all of the available land around the station is surrounded by high-density apartment complexes that are occupied by people. I'm not going to be building new transit stations with federal money so that we can have parking lots and brown fields with tumbleweed all around them. In Hong Kong, they have the only profitable transit system in the world. Why? They sell the air rights right over the station. So the developer actually pays the cost, happily pays the cost of the transit station for the privilege of having 100 stories above it so that people can get on the elevator, go to the bottom, jump on the train, leave late and arrive early to their destination. But here in Canada, we have I've gone to them, there's even in Vancouver, enormous parking lots and empty spaces around stations